Okay, you guys, I know exactly what you're thinking. I don't want to read. I don't care about books. Why should an artist like me read an entrepreneurship book? And I know you're thinking that partly because I thought that when I first started doing YouTube full time. And the reason why is because after reading these books, I really wish I did before I started selling my art online and before starting my YouTube journey. And I know what you're thinking, nerd! And yes, I am kind of a nerd. And let me tell you why. Because entrepreneurship is extremely lonely. Once you start on your entrepreneurship journey and selling your art online, a lot of people won't be able to relate to you. In fact, a lot of doubters, trolls, haters, whatever, will come out of the woodwork and tell you why your dreams aren't possible or whatever excuse they didn't succeed. On top of that, when you are an entrepreneur, most of us, if we were honest, have no idea what we are doing. We are flying by the seat of our pants, just hoping this will work. Wouldn't it be better to get advice from people who have been successful, who've done what you are doing before you? They've made all the mistakes and they know exactly where you are and what you need in order to grow. Instead of reinventing the wheel every single time you have a new problem in the business and you need to put out 1,000 fires. So these are the books that I've read that have really helped me, and I'm going to list them from number 1 to number 5 in order of importance and where it will help you along your journey. My name is Janet. I'm an ex-Disney artist turned independent creator, and I quit my job last year in order to go full-time in my online art business. And before we get started, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, jingle all my bells and buttons for new videos every Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. The first book I recommend you read is The 4-Hour Workweek by Timothy Ferriss. I read this book when I was still working my 9-to-5 corporate job at Disney, and it changed my life. The reason why I would recommend you read this book first and foremost is because it's the book that helped me quit my job. Before I was willing to make that leap into quitting the 9-to-5, I was scared, I was depressed, and I was trapped. I felt like I was on a mouse wheel, and because I went to school specifically for animation, and in a lot of ways Disney was my dream job, this job was my identity. But I knew I wasn't happy. I knew that there must have been a better way to live. This book showed me that it is in fact possible. It actually lists out the steps on how to transition from a 9-to-5 to working basically part-time to going 100% into your full-time business. It put into perspective exactly how much time I was wasting at work making money for someone else. I didn't want to wait till I was 65 years old before I actually did what I wanted to do. And it tells you how it's possible to work for yourself, but also not burn out while working for yourself. Because it's very easy once you become a business owner to basically work more than 40-hour weeks. You don't want to go from working a 9-to-5, slaving away for your employer, to working 80-hour weeks, slaving away for yourself. The second book that I want to recommend is Rich Dad's Cashflow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki. If you're into finance, you've probably heard about Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That's one of his more popular, well-known books, and I read that as well, and I highly recommend it. But this is the book that I really recommend you read after reading A 4-Hour Workweek. Because once I quit my job at Disney and became basically my own boss, there was a lot of learning I had to do. Basically what it teaches you is the difference between the 4 quadrants, which is an E, an employee, an S, a self-employed person, a B, a business, and an I, an investor. The difference between these 4 labels, you can call it, isn't that they're different labels. In fact, it's more about the mindset. The mindset of what an employee wants versus a self-employed person versus a business versus an investor. Trust me, when you're going from an employee or a self-employed person, let's say a freelancer, to a business, there is a mindset shift that needs to happen. And you might not relate or even understand what I'm talking about until you take the leap and quit your job. Because a lot of people on YouTube are technically self-employed. They're not a business. And the difference is a self-employed person owns their job and a business owns the system. A self-employed person, for example, will work 80-hour week because they are not willing to hire anyone else to do the job for them because they think that only they can do that job as well as they can. They don't believe in hiring other people. Instead, they've trapped themselves in their own little mouse wheel. They went from working a 9-to-5 for someone else to basically working a 9-to-5 for themselves, which is not where I wanted to be when I quit my job. A business, on the other hand, hires other people to help you build your company from the ground up. So for example, a YouTuber can be a business. They can hire editors to work for them. They can hire managers. They can hire a filmographer to help them film versus a YouTuber who does everything completely on their own. That is the difference between owning a system versus owning a job. And when you make that transition from being an employee or a self-employed person where it's kind of, you're not managing other people, you're managing yourself, it is a completely other skill to start managing other people and telling them what to do. There's a lot of egos you have to juggle, and honestly, your own ego that you have to juggle. You have to understand that you are not the best at your job. In fact, you can probably easily hire an editor who has more experience than you, who knows more than you. And even the process of hiring is a whole other beast unto itself that you will have to learn how to do as a business owner. And some people are simply not cut out to be business owners because they still think like a self-employed person. That's where you get a lot of micromanagers and people who cannot let go of control. It actually requires a lot of open-mindedness and, in a way, a lot of teaching ability to become a business owner. At the end of the day, you want to be able to step away from your business and have it completely run on its own without you having to touch it at all. The number of days or weeks you can step away from your business and still have it run is a sign of how good of a business you've actually built. If you are an essential part of the business, it kind of means that you need to work on how to hire people and how to structure your business to the best of its ability. The next book I highly recommend you read is Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink and Leif Babin. I think any business owner, any manager, any boss of anyone should read this book. I definitely wish I read it in college when I was doing a lot of group projects. This book is basically teaching you how to be a boss, how to lead. And you'd think some people are born leaders and some people aren't, but that's actually not the case. Leadership is a skill and you can practice it and work on your leadership abilities. And who better to learn it from than basically Navy SEALs? These guys have worked with huge companies and restructured the way these companies work. And even if you are just an employee right now, you can learn so much about leadership in this book and how to talk to your leadership, how to eventually step into the role of being a leader, even being seen as someone who deserves a promotion because you are exuding leadership qualities. And the reason why I recommend this book is because once you do step into the role of becoming a business, once you hire people and fire people, and once you have to manage more than yourself, especially as a YouTuber. Let's say you've hired an editor, you've hired some graphic designers, you have a manager, whatever people that you manage, there is going to be some difficult learning and growing that you're going to have to do. This book teaches you how to communicate with people. It basically makes it so your employees love working for you because you know how to lead them. Whether you like being a business owner or a boss, it really depends on how smooth you are at communicating with other people. And it's honestly one of the main reasons I left Disney. Everyone in animation, I don't know if it's because they're artists and they're very bad at communicating, are really bad at leading. And that's speaking not only from my personal experiences, but a lot of my coworkers' personal experiences as well. In fact, if anyone from animation is watching this video, hire Jocko Willink and Leif Babin to host some workshops because you guys need it. You want your transition from being an employee or a self-employed person to be really smooth once you become a business owner managing other people. And hint, it doesn't mean you know everything. It means being humble enough to work with your team and to ask them questions, ask if they understand, and to acknowledge your faults. Instead of being a micromanaging tyrants, which a lot of people can become when they transition from especially a self-employed person to a business owner. The next book I highly recommend is Never Split the Difference by Christopher Voss and Tal Raz. This book is a negotiation book written by an FBI negotiator. Who better to explain to you the art of negotiations than a former FBI negotiator? The reason why you need to read this book is because once you become a YouTuber, is that one day you will have to negotiate. You will have to negotiate brand deals. You will have to negotiate rates for people you either hire or fire, and you're going to have very difficult conversations around money. People in general have a hard time talking about money. Artists and creatives have a particularly bad time, partly because we just want to draw or make art. We just want to be creative, and we don't really like numbers, and we don't really like uncomfortable conversations about money. But the thing is, because I am an INTJ, I actually like talking about numbers and money. I understand exactly how important it is as a business owner, as someone who wants to protect yourself from being taken advantage of by other people. How many stories have you heard of artists, musicians, actors, writers getting taken advantage of by business people? And that's why you, as a modern day Renaissance woman or man, needs to take these things into your own hands. You really need to learn some business skills, some negotiation skills, and at least a framework on how to word your emails, how to ask for more money, and how to have very difficult conversations with people who basically want to screw you. In my opinion, this is probably the #1 book all artists should read, because that is kind of your blind spot. When you're so focused on the creative side of things, you might be stuck as the self-employed person, never daring to enter the business owner side of the equation because you never learned how to negotiate. Instead, you think you need to hire a brand manager, you need to hire an agent and hire other people to do this for you. That is exactly how you get taken advantage of. A secret that my family has passed on to me on how to manage finances and how to be a successful person is that no one can manage your money, no one can manage you better than you can. The next book you have to read is Cant Hurt Me by David Gogins. The first half of the book is super motivational and super inspiring. If you need some motivational talk, David Gogins is the man you need to listen to. If you feel lazy, he's definitely the guy that's going to get you to go outside and run a few miles. The last half of the book is actually the book that I find most useful as someone who is an internet personality. When you do things most normal people will doubt and basically say you can't do that, there will be a lot of people who are going to put you down. For me, it was everyone from people I know in real life, but also the added pressure of being a person online. There are going to be trolls, there are going to be haters. Some will hate you, some will love you. And these two different types of people might switch places one day. But he teaches you how to control your mind, how to not let these people get to you, how that when you become an uncommon man or woman amongst already uncommon men and women, how to be empathetic to everyone else who honestly don't have the same dreams as you and the same drive, which means they won't be able to achieve as much as you are because you are out there doing it. Other people will leave nasty comments and judgment on you because they themselves are extremely insecure. They see you either achieving or trying to achieve something that they failed at or were too scared to even try. And when you're going through it, I don't care how strong a person you think you are. We all can't be Gary Vee here. It will get to you. In fact, you might get to you. Your own personal self-doubt and negative self-talk. This book keeps you from feeling super lonely. Know that other people have gone through it too. If you want to learn more about how to use social media to grow your online art business, check out my free guide, 8 Steps to Launch Your Online Store. If you like my videos and you want me to keep going, help support the channel by going to honeyandabsinthe.com and buying some merch. Check out these other videos next on how to grow your business online, and don't forget to dare to dream.